I couldn't stand up, especially towards the end.
She went through the worst of the worst.
Why are you skipping the training?
She keep winning, never lose.
You do question whether it's time to stop.
Do you think it's enough for your training?
She took the team events.
She really puts her head down and focus on her stroke technique.
Only one word, she is legend.
Tania Hamid Bugo, atau lebih dikenali sebagai Tania Bugo, merupakan nama yang tidak asing dalam arena sukan renang di negara ini. Kejohanan antarabangsa pertama yang beliau sertai adalah kejohanan peringkat umur ASEAN yang berlangsung di Ipoh, Perak. Sejak daripada itu, Tania Bugo mula melibatkan diri secara aktif dalam sukan renang bermula pada tahun 1984 sehingga 1990. Tania Bugo pernah digelar sebagai Ratu Renang Sarawak pada tahun 1990 kerana kejayaan beliau dalam menggondol 13 pingat emas dalam kejohanan Sukan Malaysia SUKMA yang ketiga yang berlangsung di negeri kelahirannya sendiri, Sarawak, Bumi Kenyalang. Beberapa rekod baru kejohanan yang dicipta telah melayakkan beliau memenangi anugerah sebagai atlet wanita terbaik SUKMA 3 pada tahun 1990. Tania Bugo telah mengambil keputusan untuk bersara daripada sukan renang ketika berusia 14 tahun, sejurus selepas tamatnya kejohanan SUKMA 3 pada tahun 1990 dan ingin memberikan tumpuan sepenuhnya dalam bidang akademik. Dilahirkan pada 10 November 1975, Tania merupakan anak kedua dan juga puteri sulung kepada bekas setiausaha negeri Sarawak, Tan Sri Hamid Bugo dan Puan Sri Judith Elizabeth. Ekoran daripada kejayaan yang pernah dilakar oleh Tania Bugo dalam pelbagai kejohanan di peringkat kebangsaan maupun antarabangsa, beliau telah diangkat dalam buku yang berjudul Sarawak Women in Sports yang diterbitkan oleh Kementerian Kebajikan Kesejahteraan Komuniti, Wanita Keluarga dan Pembangunan Kanak-Kanak KWKPK pada tahun 2017. Tania Bugo pernah kembali menabur bakti pada negeri kelahirannya apabila dipanggil semula untuk menjadi pengurus pasukan renang Sarawak bagi SUKMA pada tahun 2022. Mengimbau kembali pembabitannya dalam sukan ini, Tania Bugo berkata pada awalnya beliau dihantar untuk menyertai kelas renangan ini sebagai langkah keselamatan sahaja.
I was sent to swimming lessons just to learn swimming for safety. And it just progressed from there. So from once a week, it became twice a week, and then 7 times a week, and then 9 times a week. 4 or 5 was my first swimming lesson. And then I believe I started competitive training about 7, 8. So very young.
Namun siapa sangka minatnya dalam sukan renang mula timbul hari demi hari dan telah dipilih untuk mewakili negara dalam kejohanan kebangsaan dan antarabangsa sejak berusia 8 tahun lagi.
Yeah, I represented Malaysia first when I was about 8 or 9, and then every year since then until I was 14, and then I retired. Swimming is just something I enjoy. I love the water. It's challenging, but it's also quite calming at the same time.
Menurut Tania Bugo, kelas latihan renangan akan dilakukan setiap hari tanpa henti dan hanya diberikan cuti rehat sehari sahaja untuk musim perayaan.
In those days, so training will be usually 11 sessions a week. For me, I did 9 sessions because any more than that, usually I will get sick because it's quite tough. So will be 5 days a week is double session, and then Saturday off, Sunday morning train. Each session in the morning is 1.5 hours, 5 a.m. to 6:30, and then we go to school straight from the pool. And then the afternoon is 4:30 to 6:30. So we don't have any days off. Maybe, I think we had Chinese New Year day off. Yeah, maybe one day we had Raya, but normally no days off. If it's lightning, thunder, we still train.
Sesi latihan yang sukar hampir setiap hari membuatkan Tania berasa sangat tertekan dan penat. Tania Bugo akan bangun seawal 4 pagi dan bersiap untuk turun kelas latihan renangan pagi yang akan bermula seawal pukul 5.30 pagi. Namun, Tania Bugo bersyukur kerana mempunyai seorang ibu yang sangat memahami dan sanggup menghantar beliau seawal pukul 4.30 pagi setiap hari ke kelas latihan. Beliau juga membawa pakaian seragam sekolah kerana selepas tamat kelas renangan pagi, Tania Bugo pula akan sambung dengan sesi persekolahan sehingga petang.
I had only one coach who was my learn to swim teacher as well as my competitive coach, which is Victor Tan.
Victor Tan merupakan jurulatih yang telah memainkan peranan penting dalam kisah kejayaan Tania Bugo dalam sukan renang ini. Victor Tan cukup terkenal dalam kalangan perenang-perenang di negeri ini sebagai seorang jurulatih yang sangat tegas. Namun, ketegasan beliau dalam sukan ini tidak sia-sia apabila telah melahirkan beberapa perenang yang berjaya, antaranya seperti Tania Bugo.
He was very particular about doing what you're told. So if you don't hit the time that he feels you should be able to hit, or you ulah a bit, then yes, he will punish. You'll get punished. If you do everything right, it's fine. But yeah, so it's different than nowadays. There's a lot more verbal communication. In those days, everything is done, becomes lepa, or you just shout or things like that. Yeah, it's understood, but discipline is the number one thing for him, and it's not bad.
Menurut Job Tan ZJ, sesi latihan yang dilakukan di bawah Victor Tan sangat menggerunkan dan menyeksakan.
He was such a very scary coach and very strict, and he was known for being very his program would be very torturous, and the fact that Auntie Tania could actually go through that really says a lot. That really says that she's really a tough person. She went through the worst of the worst. The trainings, probably like how much pain she had to go through in order to get where she was.
And our coach used to check our heart rate. If he would ask us the heart rate, if he wasn't sure whether you were telling the truth, he would come and touch you himself, take your pulse, and then he decided whether that was what he wanted or not. So very high heart rates for each session, very intensive training.
Victor Tan memberikan bimbingan kepada Tania Bugo dan sentiasa memantau setiap renangan yang dilakukan oleh Tania Bugo.
I believe that my coach gave everything he could. He trained us based on what he knew best.
Beliau juga berkongsi kemahiran dan teknik renangan kepada Tania Bugo untuk memperbaiki setiap renangan yang dilakukan.
He really coached us, tried to get the best out of us. It was difficult, but as I said, it's competitive swimming, and that is the nature of competitive sport. In those days, there's no sports science. We just ate as usual. So I had the normal 3 to 5 meals a day. Just rice, carbohydrate, protein, vegetables. No special diet, no supplements in those days. It was all very simple.
Pada ketika itu, tidak ada kemudahan pusat latihan gimnasium, nasihat pakar pemakanan, peralatan renang yang lengkap, dan juga pemahaman berkaitan sains sukan.
The equipment was very limited, just a kickboard and a pull board. And the kickboard is made of polystyrene, and the pulling board is the broken kicking boards because they break after a while. If Coach tikam patah, then he use it as a pulling board.
Kepayahan sesi latihan renangan yang semakin berintensiti tinggi, saban hari menyebabkan Tania Bugo berasa tertekan untuk meneruskan renangan.
In my day was 4.5, mainly due to time constraints, but it was very intensive training. Now they will have recovery periods, they will have lower heart rate zones, higher heart rate zones depending on the planning. That was the way the training was. As I mentioned earlier, there was no recovery, a very little cool down at the end of each session, mostly because we had to vacate the pool.
Perjalanan beliau untuk bergelar sebagai atlet renang berjaya bukan mudah seperti yang dijangkakan. Banyak tekanan dan cabaran yang perlu dilalui sehingga membuatkan beliau hampir berputus asa.
Work hard. It is painful. You will question whether it's something you should continue doing, but you can. You need to do the work, you need to understand why you are training and what you are doing when you are training. So it's the same when you race. You have to focus, you have to know your strengths and your weaknesses.
Tekad dan minat yang mendalam terhadap sukan renang membuatkan beliau sanggup mengetepikan segala penat lelah tersebut dalam usaha untuk mencapai impian yang diidamkan.
It's part of your life, and when you're a state swimmer, there is a certain amount of responsibility. So you just take it on and you just keep going. When things are difficult, I think that's part of it. You just don't give up. You have to do everything that you need to do. You have to rest when you need to rest. So for the 6 years of training, I slept at 8 o'clock every night. Never a late night. You basically do everything you need to do.
Kepadatan jadual yang terpaksa ditempuh oleh Tania Bugo menyebabkan beliau tidak mempunyai banyak masa terluang seperti kanak-kanak lain yang seusia dengannya.
Yes, there's no me time. It's training, then school, then homework, then training again, and then schoolwork, and then it's bedtime.
Menjadi seorang pelajar dan perenang dalam waktu yang sama bukanlah suatu yang mudah bagi Tania Bugo. Beliau perlu membahagikan masa antara pelajaran dan kelas latihan setiap hari.
It's not easy. You're tired all the time. You're hungry most of the time. But also, you do feel the pressure.
Sesi latihan yang mengambil masa selama 4 jam setiap hari amat menyukarkan bagi Tania Bugo.
Every day is an obstacle. Every day I was tired. Every day I trained until I couldn't stand up, especially towards the end. I had to shower on the floor because I was so tired.
Beliau bersyukur kerana mempunyai seorang rakan yang sangat memahami dan sentiasa memberikan sokongan kepadanya, iaitu Belinda Cheong.
There's lots of friends, and those are the most important parts. They keep you going because the training is very tough. So without your teammates, it's hard to do it on your own. Belinda Cheong is one. So we don't actually have any time because we train twice a day. We go to school, but when we travel, I don't know. We spend a lot of time together every day, hours and hours. So you just get to know people very well, especially under those circumstances. And we are friends until today.
Raymond Chang, rakan jurulatih Tania Bugo, menggambarkan Tania sebagai seorang yang berdisiplin dan sangat tegas dalam membuat sebarang keputusan.
The things that I like about her is I feel very safe when I'm with her because I know that kind of person that don't lie to you. Whatever she says, it means yes or no. There's no gray area. It's either black or white. So whether it's a yes or no, we get a straight answer. So she doesn't keep us wondering what does she means behind that meaning. So we have a very clear answer, so we get to work properly together very well.
Menurut Diong, Tania Bugo disifatkan sebagai seorang yang tidak mengenal erti penat dan mempunyai semangat yang tinggi dalam sukan renang.
Very intelligent, wisdom, and have a foresight in swimming. She is very passionate. Only one word, she is legend.
Menurut Job Tan Zije, walaupun beliau bergelar sebagai antara atlet yang terkenal di negara ini, namun Tania Bugo tetap bersikap merendah diri.
Even though she's someone, a very popular figure in the swimming community, but she's still very humble, very down to earth, pride herself. She doesn't really talk much on her life as a swimmer. She's really soft-spoken. You wouldn't know that she was actually someone who's really popular in the swimming community.
Ketika menginjak ke usia 12 tahun, Tania Bugo merasakan dirinya tidak mampu lagi untuk meneruskan karier sebagai seorang atlet.
When I was about 12, so I think that was probably the time the body starts to change, and you feel different. Things are harder. You're not improving as much as you used to. and you're just always tired. So definitely when your body is under that type of strain, you do question whether it's time to stop.
Dengan sokongan dan semangat yang diberikan oleh ibunya, Tania Bugo seakan-akan mendapat tonik apabila bangkit semula dengan tekad untuk meraih kejuaraan yang diimpikan.
So she said no. She said keep going, and I just listened to her. At the time it was difficult. Yes, I was feeling very tired all the time, but she said no, so I listened to her. I think she helped the most. She supported me the most by not saying much. She left me to do what I needed to do. She never told me how to race. She never told me how to train. She never advised me. She never said to me, "Oh, your teammate is faster than you." She said nothing. You know, so there was enough pressure, I think, to perform without someone else. So for my case, the fact that she was quiet was very supportive to me. So I think SUKMA, I felt very pressured to perform. So you have to find a way to cope. For me, I just usually go to one corner, just quietly. There's not much time between events, but I just calm myself down, and you just keep your fighting spirit. The fighting spirit to me, as I said, the training is the same for me. It's practice, and if I've done it during training, then I feel that I can do it during competition.
Maiden Tania is unbeatable. She keep winning, never lose. First time I know her is at SUKMA Sarawak. She keep winning the medal. Then she become a legend for us.
She took 13 events, individual events, and it was tough, you know, and considering that, you know, I myself only swim one event for competition is really tiring, and for that, you know, for her to do 13 and win gold medals again, that was really, really impressive. It was really legendary.
Menurut bekas pelajar SMB Sentresa itu, kejayaan merangkul 13 pingat emas dan mencipta 12 rekod kejohanan kebangsaan bukanlah sesuatu yang mudah dan dilakukan dalam beberapa bulan. Tetapi dengan beberapa perancangan, strategi dan penglibatan dalam beberapa kejohanan, membuatkan beliau mampu meningkatkan prestasi dari masa ke semasa.
To win the 13 medals was planning. It was a result of many years of training. It was not a few months. It was continuous. So it was just actually like any other competition where I had, leading up to that for the years before, just keep on trying to get better, improve my technique. That part is the difficult part. Which event you need to do more, because you cannot swim 100% for each event when you're swimming back to back like that. You have very little time to rest in between. I had to be more clever about it. I had to know when I needed to push, and I knew my opponents, so I knew how they swam, and I knew when would be the best time for me to, you can say, engage gear and get ahead of them, which is usually when they are weakest. Yes.
So sometimes when swimmers say that they're gonna skip training, she's just gonna ask, so do you think it's enough for your training? So why are you skipping the training? I know that is a good reason, but it is not enough. You need to keep enough session. So she is very strict, not just towards the swimmers, towards the coaches as well. As mentioned earlier, she would ask, why do you want to do that? Why are you not doing that?
She is strict, yeah. But though she is strict, she is really loving, caring, and, you know, she sometimes acts like a mother to us, you know, like someone who really cares. She will always never use harsh words on us. She's always using very complimentary words to us. Like she used sweet words, and then, you know, when we are sick, she always always follow up on us each day, like asking us, are you okay?
Menceritakan kembali kisah sebelum kemenangan beliau dalam kejohanan SUKMA 3 pada tahun 1990, Tania Bugo memaklumkan bahawa beliau telah terpilih untuk mewakili negara dalam Sukan SEA yang diadakan di Kuala Lumpur pada tahun 1989 selepas menempah tiket dalam sesi kelayakan terbuka Malaysia. Namun, beliau mengambil keputusan untuk tidak turut serta dalam kejohanan Sukan SEA ini.
The year before, we had the 1989 SEA Games in Kuala Lumpur, I think, and I qualified during the Malaysian Open, and most of my opponents did. At that time, they were the top, so the breaststrokers, the freestylers. I qualified for SEA Games, but I decided not to go. So the ruling for SUKMA the following year was anyone who had swum in SEA Games was not eligible. So that left my weaker strokes actually open. So I had to be better than the second best, those that did not get to SEA Games. I still had to be faster than them. But as I said, it's not something you can do within a few months. It's years worth of training, but some planning, some strategy based on the meet.
Tania is a very nice and gentle person, a very soft-spoken but very stern person. So she's very strict. She's very, she follows through what she says. If she tells you that she's gonna do this, she's gonna do it. So she's that kind of very disciplined kind of person.
I remember these words clearly from her mouth. She said that, well, there are times, I mean, this is life, you know. Life doesn't go as the way you plan to happen, you know. There are times where, you know, things will not happen the way you plan. So you just have to go through it.
I would really hope that the younger generation can really see her as a good role model as well. Her self-discipline, you know, how she pushes herself through. Well, as we know that swimming is one of the sports that where we really put our head down, looking at the black line and just swim. There's not much interaction in between teammates. So what Tania did back then was that when she was training, she really puts her head down and focus on her stroke technique.
So SUKMA, actually all my meets were not about me. It wasn't about medals either. For me, it was always be the best swimmer I can be, because everyone is different.
Selepas merangkul 13 pingat emas dalam kejohanan SUKMA 3, Tania Bugo mengambil keputusan untuk bersara daripada arena sukan renang.
I retired very early, so 14, almost 15, I stopped after the SUKMA, the third SUKMA. That was my one and only SUKMA, but after that, I felt that I had done what I needed to do, and I wasn't sure whether my body could continue on. I can say for every day that I trained, for as long as I trained, I gave 100%. So I was satisfied that way. I wasn't sure whether I could do any better. I had already given everything I could. So I needed a rest, and I took a rest and I never went back.
Selepas hujan akan timbulnya pelangi. Itulah ungkapan yang sesuai untuk menggambarkan kisah perjalanan Ratu Renang Sarawak ini, sehingga beliau berjaya menjadi salah seorang legenda dalam sukan tanah air negara.